Yes.
All right. So if the line is drawn from the positive um, x from the negative x-axis to the positive x-axis, you get the positive gradient. But if the line is drawn from the positive x-axis to the negative x-axis, you get the negative gradient. All right. So in
Yes,
order
sir.
for you to calculate the gradient, you only need 2 points in the line, right? On the line. Let me just put it that way. You only need 2 points on the line. And those 2 points are made up of x and y. So basically, you only need coordinate, and the coordinates are made up of x and y. So the coordinate is made up of x is to y. So you need the coordinate of x is to y, x is to y in order for you to calculate the gradient. And these 2 points and these 2 coordinates must be in the line, must be on the line in order for you to calculate the gradient. And let me say this, you can use any 2 point on the line, given the fact that they are on the line, right? Like for example, you can use
Yes.
this point that is here, right? And you can use this point. If I'm use this point and I use this point, I will get the same gradient if I use that point and that point, right?
Oh, I remember. I
I
remember. I remember because I remember you telling me that they are co-linear or something. I'm not sure.
Yes. So no, not the
Yes.
collinear, not the collinear. I'll teach you that the collinear part. What is the collinear? But for this is the
Oh.
gradient. For the gradient, you only need 2
Oh.
coordinates on the line. Okay. So if you
Yes.
have 2 coordinates on the line, right, it can be the point that is here, or the point that is there, or the point that is there, or the point that is there. Okay. You can use any 2
Yes.
points
On the same line.
on the same line.
On the
Once you
same line. Yes.
provided that those lines are, like for example, if I have the line like this, right? And then this line, maybe it's just that I'm using this. Maybe this line is the coordinate. Okay, let me just draw the Cartesian plane here so that you can understand what I mean. Let's say I have the Cartesian plane, right? And I have a line like that, and I have this coordinate here, right? Let's say I have 1 here, I also have 1. So I have a y is 1 and x is 1. So I have the coordinates of 1 is to 1 here, okay? Let's say I have another one
Oh.
here, which is maybe 2 and 2. So I have the coordinates of 2 is to 2. And then maybe I have the other one of 3 is to 3, right? So if
Yes.
I want to calculate the gradient here, I have to say the gradient is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what I have to do here, I have to identify the 2 points or the 2 coordinates that are on the line. So basically, I can use this coordinate and this coordinate, or and this coordinate, any of those 3 coordinates, but I have to select 2. Because why that is the case is because are on the line. The point that we can use is the one that we call the outlier, is the one that is here, because it's not on the line, right? You would get the same
Oh.
gradient. You get the same gradient even if you are using this point and that point, or you're using this point, and it doesn't matter as long as those 2 coordinates that you are talking about are on the line. Okay.
Yes.
So let's prove that. Let's say we are using the coordinates of 2 is to 2 and 3 is to 3. Okay, let me write it here. Let's say we are using 2 is to 2 and 3 is to 3. Okay, let's say I'm using these 2 coordinates to calculate the gradient. Now, the question would be, how do you select y2 and x2 and y1 and x1? So it doesn't matter which one you want to select as that, but you have to be consistent with your selection. If you are choosing this coordinate to be your x1 and y1, this one must be your x2 and y2, right? People, the mistake that people
Yes.
they like to make is that they like to say maybe this is the x1 and this is y2, and then on top they say this is x2 and this is y1. No, 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 no. The coordinates that you are selecting will be y1 and x1, and the second one will be x2 and and y2. Any question on that point?
No question, Sipo.
Okay, so if I'm using this, obviously I will have the coordinates of 2 is to 2 and 3 is to 3. So if I'm subtracting this, I will have y2 minus y1. So if I'm taking this as my x1 and my y1, and I'm taking this as my x2 and my y2, all right? So obviously my y2 is 2, right? So I will have 2,
Mm.
right? And my y1, my this is my x2, right? I'm shifting this. This is my x2, and my y1 is on the second coordinate, right? So you always write it like this. You always write the point on the first coordinate. Like for example, you always take x1, y1, y2 on the first coordinate, and then y1 you will take it on the second coordinate. You understand?
Yes.
And underneath you will
Yes.
go back to the one that you started from. You on the one that you started from, you take the x2, and then you go to the second one, you take the x1. Is that making sense?
It is, Sipa. Yes.
Any question here?
No question, Sipa.
Right. So you have 2 minus, right, 3, right? Since this is my y1, okay, over, and then I go back and take my x2 here, right? So over 2 minus, and I come here and take my x1 minus 3, right? So I will have minus 1 over minus 1, where I will have 1 as a gradient, all right? Now,
Yes.
to prove what I said, that it doesn't matter as long as the point is on the graph, let's use now this coordinate and that coordinate, right? So if I'm
Yes.
using, maybe now I'm using the coordinate of 2 is to 2 and 1 is to 1. So I'm using 2 is to 2 and 1 is to 1 to calculate the gradient. So obviously the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. And then now I'll
Yes.
treat this part as my x1 as my y1, and I'll treat this one as my x2 and my y2. As I said, I can also treat this one, right? If I like, I can treat this one as my x1 and y1, and I treat this one as my x2 and y2. It doesn't matter. Okay, as long as
Yes.
you're being consistent after you picked those coordinates like that. Okay, so if I pick
Yes,
like
Sipa.
this, obviously I will say y2, which is that is y2. Okay, so that is 2 minus y1, that is y1, so that is minus 1 over x2, that is x2, sorry, that is x2 over there, so it's 2 minus um, um, x1, that is x1 over there, minus 1. So I will have 2 minus 1, that is 1. 2 minus 1, that is 1. I'm also getting the gradient of 1. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes, Sipa.
the gradient, it doesn't depend on what coordinate you pick, as long as the coordinate that you are picking are on the line, are not the outliers, right? Because the outliers are the
Yes.
coordinates maybe are here, right? Those are the outliers. You don't pick the one that are here. You pick the one that are on the line. 2 of them. You only need 2, all right? That are on the line. Okay? You can pick this one and that one, and you get the same gradient when you pick this one and that one. Any question here?
Yes, Sipa. No question, Sipa.